It may very well have been the best time of my life. I have never thought that this might happen to me, that I could feel happiness again. But I did. After the events around Love's Day and Yone's birthday, things were going so well, I couldn't believe it. The philosophy lessons were better than ever. The atmosphere was such as I have never experienced in my life. March and April of that year were the most wonderful days I ever spent at this school. And I thought all was over, that only sadness awaits me here. Well, we in the philosophy class were maybe even more friends than we were with our other classmates. The world outside changed colors to spring and... Wait a moment! Got it! To spring and summer! Slowly the green would float the whole scenery. It was April. The first hot days arrived. I think all I really lived for were the philosophy lessons now. It made all the other things more bearable. I could easily go through the week with knowing that on Wednesday there would be another lesson of philosophy with Yone and the great class. I think now everyone enjoyed the lessons, many people were discussing things, almost everyone was really relaxed and liked the lessons, maybe even looked forward to them. As for me, I have returned the books to Yone as I promised. It seemed that the friendship between us could take anything, even those situations that happened before. Yone didn't seem to be ready to give away the friendship, and neither was I. That was April. The sun already began to shine, and May was nearing. The time when we would slowly have to work on our final works to get them done before the final exams from all the more important classes. As for Yone, besides being the wonderful person she was, and beside the few nice talks we had during the lesson, I think she was getting even prettier by the day. How could that be? I didn't understand, because she just couldn't be any more pretty, but she was. She still had that sexy body, which I really was obsessed with, and sometimes she would even catch me staring at her with an absent look. She jokingly asked me a question, and when I snapped out of it, she just laughed along with all the others. Sometimes she'd even ask me to share my thoughts with others, but I said it really would be better if she would not know. Did she know what I was thinking? Maybe I don't know. It was very hard to decipher, because now Yone didn't hesitate to make sexy innuendos, not only towards me, but with the whole class. Even the students would sometimes twist some philosopher's ideas into sex, and we'd laugh about it. Yone was really the only teacher that could be so relaxed. Sometimes it seemed there was only sex in the air. Many people liked it because of this sexy atmosphere our lessons had. Not that it really would get out of hand. Yone knew when to stop the teenagers, and we would revert to normal work, at least for the next 15 minutes. I knew I felt it differently than the rest of the class. For me, this was what I wanted. I wanted to relive all the great atmosphere I experienced at Mizumi grounds. I thought of Yone, just maybe that she felt it in a similar way. All the others, they just had a good time, not understanding that this will all pass eventually. Even if they knew they couldn't enjoy it, really enjoy it. But I really could not to live the atmosphere I wanted, because this was a different sort of atmosphere, something different. Only now, when I think about it, I see how beautiful it was. I could never feel it as much as later, when it all was gone forever. Only now, I think of it as the most happy 2 months of my life. At that time, I just felt good, great, and I felt that this may just be the real thing, the thing I will be remembering for the rest of my life. But that was but a small fraction of the intensity I felt when I remembered it. Why was it? Why couldn't I feel it so intensively back then? Why couldn't I enjoy it fully? I spent many days thinking about this. Why did I even want to return to Mizumi grounds? I never remembered to feel such strong feelings before the Redux. It was only after I finished that school and could no more return that I started recalling and thinking about how great that really was. I guess memories are strong, stronger than any comfortable feelings one might have when actually in a situation. Memories are very different and they can only exist once the event is over. And because I knew I could never feel it again, that's why they were so strong. There was no way of defeating them. I thought that when I would reappear at museum grounds with all I knew, I would be able to enjoy it all, but I didn't set this simple scam. My feelings would not be so strong anymore, because it was for one the first time I experienced them, which is almost like it would be burned into the brain. And second, I was now a different person and quite simply could not create the same environment for me. Back before the Redux, I was just like those not knowing classmates of mine. I couldn't see that one time I would regret I didn't enjoy it to the maximum. And the terrible thing I learned was that I couldn't do anything about it, because these memories were so strong, because I didn't value them enough. I regretted it more, and my desire and dreams were the stronger the more I realized how beautiful that all was. Looking back at the time after the Redux, it was not anywhere near the experience from before. There was only one first time. At this time, the school photographer announced the annual class photographs would be taken. Now, I didn't even waste time to try to think that my class would make more pictures. I knew I had to let it all go. They did not need any counseling. It was best to leave everyone and not tell them what they had now. How wonderful these 4 years would be and that they should enjoy it. They could never understand it, because only with the memories could they understand, and their not knowing was a condition without which they could never develop those strong memories later. And then, I didn't even know how it came into my mind. During the philosophy lesson, when the announcement was to be heard about the photographs, I suggested we take a picture of ourselves, the people who took the lessons, people from different classes. And they agreed. I know it was not for any really sentimental reasons, but because they wanted a memory, but that was good enough. Yona was a little surprised, but it really was a good idea, and we were looking forward to the next lesson. Yona should arrange everything so we could go during the lesson. I think that was something that never could be topped. May was nearing and the class photo was almost like a symbol for the good times to be over. The picture taking itself was just great. We made a sort of a crazy picture with everyone, striking a funny pose, and I talked Yona into standing back to back with me looking at the camera. I didn't care how it would look on the photo, and I guess neither did she. We got a picture the next lesson and it was the most beautiful picture I ever had. We all signed all of them for ourselves, and it was so great during the class. We were at each other's tables hunting for signatures we didn't have. Yona was at the front, and whoever came to her to get it signed had to sign her picture as well. When I came to her and she gave me her picture, I signed it. And with no prior thoughts, I just automatically added a line saying, "To Yone, the best teacher ever." Then, when she noticed it, I realized with horror what I have done. Not only have I praised her as the best teacher, which would be understandable, but I wrote Yone. Not Miss Kamiyama. Yone! Okay. Of course, because I always thought of her as Yone. And now she would know, and besides it was such a terrible situation now. Maybe the others would notice it too when signing her picture, but it's okay. We always made jokes, so it wouldn't be too much if I called her Yone on the photo. But the worst thing was that she would know that I call her Yone in my mind. I felt embarrassed, but I had to overcome it. I have simply done it. There was no way out of there. So she would know. It really wouldn't harm our friendship. I was quite confident that it was going to be okay. Yeah, that's right. I knew a little what I could expect from her and how far I could go. Would this really be okay? She saw it. And obviously she didn't know what to do. I wrote her that nice line and what about her. And she thought about it. I could see it. And then she put a small heart beside her name. The heart. The symbol of love. What did that mean? Why did she do that? Could I really imagine that it might be true? Yone had feelings for me. Feelings so strong that she didn't mind doing that, even for anyone else might see it. Or was that a panic thing and now she was sorry? She has done it a few times. She was nearly as cool as I was with a certain tendency to rush things. So much I already found out. Could it be? She wasn't that experienced? My imagination was running wild. Or was this really her? Sometimes making hasty things? She was like that, I knew it, because I saw it many times. But I had to save the situation, help her. I thanked her so much with a happy tone and told her that now I was going to sleep with that under my pillow. She must have noticed what I was doing, and once I relieved the stress of that heart, she said I had to put it in a frame and keep it on my desk so I would always think of philosophy. Some other students that were there with us laughed with us. What a day that was, when it ended! Despite all that we tried to do, I had written her that she was the best and I had a heart from her. I couldn't stop thinking about it. Was it really possible? Yone made a decision. Could it really be? She was willing to give us a chance. I had to do something then. Was it really possible? Me? And Yone? The times I had during the philosophy lessons. It was unbelievable how great that could all be. We all felt it, Yone, me, and the rest of the class. It was a special class, a special assembly of people, a special time, a special friendship. We even took a picture of ourselves just for the memory. There would be no philosophy or other elective classes in our last year at Mizumi grounds, as we would have to concentrate on the main subjects. Yone Kamiyama, our teacher. She took over for our former teacher from last year, 34 years old, and a great person to be with. I fell in love with her. Ever since I saw her the second time during the summer holidays, I became gradually more and more attracted to her. I thought it was impossible, some kind of an insane stunt that if I ever could pull off, I don't know, I'd have to mark it as the thing closest to a miracle I ever experienced. To get my teacher, who was twice as old as me, to love me. I would never think of it, and I would never think I had a chance, if only the slightest, if my true age wouldn't be almost the same as her. I truly loved her, and because I was able to speak and be at her level, I had a chance. It must have been only my personality that got her to be willing to accept me. In the course of this school year, I managed to meet her every week, even in the student board. I created a friendly atmosphere between us, and by taking some chances, I was able to sit beside her and talk to her in the bus. I even danced with her. I got her to chase me in the snowball fight, and during Christmas we were shopping together and I gave her a snowman. Then I couldn't give her love sign out, and the situation in the classroom followed. That is where I realized she did feel something. There was the thing when I came to her office on her birthday, and the class photo. I was in love with Yone. I truly loved her, and I almost certainly knew she'd be willing now to forget about all the moral restraints she had. I know she had to overcome it, and I tried to help her as much as I could. She was such a wonderful person. Now, I think, now it was the time. We were ready to talk and to come closer to each other. And I wanted to hear it, I wanted to feel it, finally, that Yone also liked me, because I liked her. And I wanted to finally touch her. Or maybe just feel her presence and get that horrible burden off my shoulders. I wanted to be able to admit my love in front of her and in front of myself. And my chance would come. There actually was no better chance. Yone enjoyed our class as much as we did and therefore invited us to her place after most of the final exams took place. It would be a Friday evening. She invited us and we made up that everyone bring along some snacks or drinks. This was it, I guess. Yune. I would see her in private, how she lives. I knew a little about her, but never did I see her at home, if I didn't count the time at the Sky Trip. She was the first teacher to have done that, invite us, having known that she won't be teaching us the next year, and after that we'd be gone. It was already quite warm outside, and Yone naturally dressed accordingly. For me, it meant again so much torture, seeing her wonderful body, imagining what it would be like to touch her, kiss her, and make love to her. Often I would close my eyes. Was this only a dream? Was it really going to happen soon? Maybe at the party? Was I really going to find out whether she liked me too? What would I do? That Friday was nearing very fast. One part of me was looking forward to it and the other part was scared. This would change everything. Could it really be? Maybe not. Really, how big was this chance that a person like Yone would throw away all she believed in, all her moral restraints, to then feel like she seduced a student? Would she... Would she even consider that my love was true, and not a product of the mind of a teenager? Then again, I have always been honest and true to her. I always acted naturally. She must have seen that is not normal behavior for a boy of my age. She must have known I was different, and though I knew she could never find out why, not even guess, I hoped that at least she felt it was right. With only 2 more days to go, we had our last philosophy lesson. I have already defended my work, and I was very happy with the way it turned out. The last lesson was nevertheless very wonderful. We hardly did anything, we just talked. And as I left the classroom, I looked back one last time. I just had to. The seat I had, watching Yone. How could I ever forget all this? In 2 days, it was to happen. At Yone's place. This would never return.